SpaceX just got permission to begin building out the next generation of its Starlink internet megaconstellation. On Thursday, December 1st, the U.S. Federal Communications Commission (FCC) approved SpaceX to deploy 7,500 Starlink 2.0 satellites in low Earth orbit. The ruling is just a partial victory for SpaceX. However, the company had applied for permission to deploy 29,988 Starlink 2.0 satellites around Earth. The FCC is deferring a decision about the rest of the envisioned spacecraft. The FCC granted just a limited approval to address concerns about orbital debris and space safety, agency officials wrote in Thursday's decision document. These and other issues were raised by interested parties regarding the Starlink 2.0 application, which SpaceX filed in 2020. Those aren't the only concerns people have raised about Starlink. Astronomers fret about the megaconstellation's impact on their work, for example, and some dark sky advocates worry that it's fundamentally changing our view of the heavens. SpaceX already had FCC permission to deploy 12,000 first-generation Starlink satellites, each of which weighs roughly 660 pounds. The company has lofted a significant proportion of that number. More than 3,200 Starlink spacecraft are beaming internet service to users around the world at the moment, according to astrophysicist and satellite tracker Jonathan McDowell. Starlink 2.0 satellites will be much larger and more capable than their predecessors, SpaceX founder and CEO Elon Musk has said. The new craft will tip the scales at about 1.25 tons, 1,130 kilograms, and will be able to beam service directly to cell phones. Indeed, a few months ago, SpaceX announced plans to do just that starting in 2023, via a partnership with T-Mobile. SpaceX plans to loft the lion's share of the new Starlink satellites using Starship, its huge new Mars and Moon rocket. Starship is still under development, but the enormous vehicle could launch on its first orbital test flight in the coming weeks. All Starlink spacecraft to date have launched atop the Falcon 9, SpaceX's workhorse rocket. A Starlink satellite has a lifespan of approximately 5 years, and SpaceX eventually hopes to have as many as 42,000 satellites in this so-called megaconstellation. The current version of each Starlink satellite weighs approximately 573 pounds, 260 kilograms, according to Spaceflight Now. As of November 2022, there are 3,271 Starlink satellites in orbit, of which 3,236 are operational, according to astronomer Jonathan McDowell, who tracks the constellation on his website. The size and scale of the Starlink project concerns astronomers, who fear that the bright, orbiting objects will interfere with observations of the universe, as well as spaceflight safety experts who now see Starlink as the #1 source of collision hazard in Earth's orbit. In addition to that, some scientists worry that the amount of metal that will be burning up in Earth's atmosphere as old satellites are deorbited could trigger unpredictable changes to the planet's climate.